Hey guys, welcome to my channel. And today, I'll be reading A Cat Six Reader by Izukulos on Tumblr. So let's get into it. What are you doing out here? The words leave your mouth in a chill white air, wafting up to the black night sky, and Kazuki's head lifts minutely at the interruption. He is still embedded against the blurry lights of the city, beyond the gates of school, swinging his legs against the roof in a manner that you could even recognize from the doorway. Too damn cold in that room. Couldn't get to sleep. It's a lame excuse, but you could hear the harsh exhaustion in his voice. So you tactfully let it slide. You make your way over to the edge of the roof and crouch down to the cold brick, with a respectful distance between you both. Told you to back more sweaters, didn't I? He side-eyes you. What are you, my damn mom? You share a second of tired laughter. It's a marker of how far your friendship has come. From the sandbox days of him setting your ties alight and building towers with stacks of plastic bricks that you would inevitably knock over once you sensed that you were sufficiently absorbed in the task, just to cackle when you pouted. And it had not been smooth sailing either. The two of you became strangers, thanks to his middle school treatment of Izuku. It was only recently, in the last year or so, that you could even stand to be in the same room as him. Truth to be told, though, even in the years wherein the gap between you had grown cold and distant, like a frozen field where flowers refused to take root, there had been a part of you that had missed him. And God knows why. Maybe you were just drawn to those kinds of people, the ones who made you feel stupid and guilty for caring. This, though, it's companionable. The silence, the proximity, it's familiar, and it feels like being young and untroubled again. It feels like splashing through the shallow river in the field, beside your houses, looking for tadpoles. It feels like raising each other up in the skinniest trees. To see who had the nerve to cling to the highest, wispiest branch, and it feels like showing your soul mark to him for the first time, wondering why he gets a plain black band over his. You couldn't have fathomed that back then, that you would find out your own soulmate so quickly. Izuku Midoriya crashed into your life at 4 years old with wide blinking eyes, and a wobbling lower lip, and you had immediately taken him underneath your wing. Katsuki grumbled about it, but he knew even back then not to take any heed of it. And when you saw the graphic black symbol emblazoned on the back of Izuku's ankle one afternoon, the one identical to the one on your hip, he knew he'd be the one he'd stick with. And that was all told, really, especially after Katsuki's drastic behavioral changes, as his quirk developed into something he could weaponize, something you could brandish to scare and hurt in the right end. And even as you grew, as your and Izuku's puppy love blossomed into something more serious, into things like dates and kissing, and things that only cackled and hid your face out as a kid. Katsuki only seemed to retreat further into your shadow, and the black band remained firm over his wrist, shielding the vulnerability of his mark from sight. You had nagged at him for a few times, but his glamour had turned particularly vicious. God knows who else could handle his tantrums. And complexity, if not you or Izuku or Kirishima. He turned to look at him. He is oddly serene in the starlight. The only trace of his usual demeanor, a slight furrow between his brows. As he stares down at the black horizon, you nudge your shoulder gently. You get nightmares again? You ask, quietly enough, that you could pretend he didn't hear if he'd want to. He grunts. You spoken to anybody about it? You right now, I guess. You fix him a firm look. Katsuki. He snorts. God, you're my mom. Drop it already, would you? Silence relapses. Sorry, he murmured truthfully. Katsuki had never responded well to being prodded. He curled up like a woodlouse, bearing you a stuffed exoskeleton. It was more about knowing the chinks in the armor, finding the right word to touch or break through. But it felt as though he was getting harder to read these days. You could always come to us, you know. The tension in his shoulders grows tighter at the mention of you and Ezekiel. I'll keep that in mind. Do you want to leave me alone now? He looks at you coolly to reinforce his blunt words. But you see expression falter slightly when you only offer back a tight grin instead of hurt or anger. You gather your legs beneath you and stand, yawning, dropping a hand to his head. He freezes almost imperceptibly when your fingers run through his hair, briefly, and just for a moment, you could feel the anger stop from him, seeping through the warmth of your hand and dissipating into the bleak air like breath chastised into the night and quickly forgotten. You long sometimes, privately, for the days you could grab onto him and let him hold you around by the rest. But you suppose that, like all things Katsuki was involved, will come back slowly and be even sweeter when he does that. Good night, Katsuki. You tell him tenderly, removing your hand from his hair and making your way back through the heavy fire door, leaving him, when he's sure you're gone, his right hand comes up and grips his left fist tight enough to hurt over the black band. He tries not to feel too sorry for himself the next morning when you and Midora stroll into the canteen with your hands linked, and you see his glances from the two of you sit there at your own table. As you listen to Izuku ramble about whatever, the way his cheeks still turn bright red, you take his chin gently in hand and brush stray food off the side of his mouth. When you spot him and lift a hand in greeting, he barely nods back beneath the table, his fingers fiddling with the nail and edges of his band. Beneath, you could feel the stomach burn again, just like it had the first time when you had grabbed his hand to show him a crab we had found in the riverbed, where it had been sitting stagnant and untouched since Katsuki was 4 years old.